Here I am. Here I am. Calm down. I'm back. I went away for a little bit, but I'm back now. I'll talk about that at some other time. I'm going to try and be as brief as I possibly can. I know I say that all the time, but this time I really mean it. I just want to talk briefly about this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing because I have to get some thoughts off the top of my brain. There are questions that I have that I'm putting out to you. I'm putting them out to you. Feel free to comment to me, the Comparison Guy podcast on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever. Question number 1. Are we comfortable with calling the President of the United States a pedophile? Are we comfortable with that? Because that's what we're doing. You do understand that. This is not a Trump supporting show. This is not a MAGA show. But I'm asking people because they seem to be doing it in such a cavalier fashion, almost tongue-in-cheek, almost having fun with it. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. What are the Epstein files? That's just the name we've created for this thing. The Epstein files. What's the Epstein files? And what exactly is meant when you say so-and-so's name is in the Epstein files? I think we all understand. We understand what a monster Jeffrey Epstein was. And so what people are suggesting is that Jeffrey Epstein had files or had a client list. We hear that, the Epstein client list of people who came to him to have sex with underage girls. So when we say, oh, Donald Trump's his name's got to be in those files, got to be on the client list, we're saying Donald Trump went to Jeffrey Epstein to have sex with underage girls. Are we comfortable with that? You are? Okie dokie. Suppose they release the list and there's names in there you're not comfortable with. Suppose they release this once again, quote unquote list, and George Soros' name is in there. George Soros, someone Republicans, conservatives, MAGA loves to attack, loves to blame for everything. Everything is George Soros. George Soros is funding everything. Democratic donor. Suppose his name's in there. Oh, yeah, George Soros, he met with Jeffrey Epstein a couple of times, so he sure did. What if Alec Baldwin's name is in there? Are you comfortable with that? Oh, Alec Baldwin, New York guy, celebrity, always out there rubbing shoulders with other powerful people. So his name, he met with Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. I'm not trying to get sued. This is what I think people should be worried about. But what if his name shows up? What if George Clooney's name showed up? What if George Clooney, who is a philanthropist, always trying to help out Darfur or wherever he goes to, always trying to do good deeds, what if years ago he knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein other than he was a rich financier and he got money from Jeffrey Epstein donated to a charity that George Clooney was working with? What if his name's in there and they release that? Are you comfortable with that? The point I'm trying to make is I am sitting here scratching my head and I'm asking you now, not rhetorically, I'm asking you legitimately, if the Trump administration put out a list and it had names on there that people did not like being on there, are we going to sit here and act like they'd be okay with that? Of course not. Of course not. We all know what everyone is saying. Everyone who desperately wants to see this list, quote unquote list. If you are in MAGA and you desperately want to see this list, you want to see all the powerful Democrats and people on the left that are on the list. That's what you want to see. That's what you're interested in. If you're on the left and you say, oh, Donald Trump's covering up something, and you want to see the list, you want to see all the powerful Republicans and people on the right that are on the list. That's what you want to see. And if you see anything else, anything other than that, you are not going to accept it. You're not going to be okay with it. If MAGA sees any names on there they don't like, Rudy Giuliani, Which I don't know if MAGA really cares about Rudy Giuliani anymore. Trump, I don't know if he does. But if there was a name, once again, I don't want to get sued. Little old me, I got nothing, can't sue me for anything. But if there was a name that you wanted me to speculate that might be on some sort of Epstein list, oh, I'd put Rudy up there. I sure would. I sure would. I'd put Rudy right at the top of that list. So are they trying to protect Rudy in some kind of way? I don't know. All I know is if names like that showed up and not the juicy names that the right wants, a Bill Clinton, a George Soros, or whoever, if there are none of those names on there, well, they're going to say, well, this list is garbage. This list is garbage. It's not true. And conversely, if they put out a list and it's only names of powerful, rich people on the left, influencers on the left, then the left is going to say, garbage. Trump administration is lying to us. The Trump administration has doctored this list. So, once again, as I say, if there was some sort of a list produced, we are alleging, we are insinuating that the names that are being given are people who associated with Jeffrey Epstein for the purpose of having sex with underage girls. That's what we're alleging. How the heck do you do that? How the heck do you put that list out? I Googled whether or not you could sue the Justice Department, and it says, yeah, you can. There are instances and reasons and circumstances for suing the Justice Department, but you can certainly sue the Justice Department. So I can tell you, if someone put out a list with my name on it because I did business with somebody, and they just said, we're putting out the list of names of anybody who ever met with this guy, spent time with this guy, flew on his airplane, did anything with him, we're putting your name out there. And everyone knows that's insinuating that I did something illegal. I'm going to sue. Particularly if I know I didn't do something illegal. You better believe I'm going to sue. That's somebody's reputation. Now, if there's some people out there who that same exact thing happens to, they sue anyway. Even if they know they did something, because they're trying to protect their reputation. And they're saying, where's the evidence? You put my name on this kind of a list. Where's your evidence I did something wrong? Where's your evidence? You can't do that. You can't just throw names out there willy-nilly when you know what the speculation is going to be about those names. You can't legally do that. They never could. That brings me to my next question. How in the heck do people not see what's been done to them for years? For years. I just posted a comment to another podcast that they were talking about this that I haven't really heard from many people. I did see some other comments where people were saying something similar, but this is kind of what they do. This is kind of the thing. You say, we got a scandal. Oh, we got a scandal. We got a bombshell. You're not going to believe what we are going to tell you. And then they come up with this whole, okay, let's just call it a conspiracy theory. I want to call it something deeper than that because it's a whole story. It's like a mini series. It just unfolds over time. The theory, the conspiracy theory, it goes on for months and months and years in some cases, like this Epstein thing. It just goes on, and it's from time to time. Oh, we got another blockbuster. We got another blockbuster. We got more for you. Oh, the files are sitting on my desk. Oh, do you think there's going to be criminal charges from this? Yes. Do you know who the people are? Yes. Do you have a client list? Yes. Do you have files? Yeah. Oh, we got it all. We got it all. Oh, he died in jail. He died in jail. Yeah, he committed suicide. He committed suicide. Do you have video? Yeah, but a minute's missing. A minute's missing. Oh, my God. And there's a girl. Oh, yeah. There was a girl who was involved. She committed suicide. She committed suicide. You got to be kidding me. So we got two people now involved in this that supposedly committed suicide. Oh, it just goes on and on and on. Like a miniseries. Like a drama. And they just keep doing it. And they're just coming up with different issues to play the miniseries and keep people captivated. Obama. He spied on the campaign. He spied on Donald Trump's campaign. We got the evidence for you. You're not going to believe it when we show you. The election was rigged. The election was stolen from Donald Trump. We got tons of evidence. You're not going to believe it when we show it to you. Obama, he took down that helicopter with SEAL team on it to cover up some kind of scandal involving Osama bin Laden, because Osama bin Laden wasn't really killed. We got the evidence. You're not going to believe it when we show it to you. Benghazi. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton and Obama. They took out Ambassador Stevens because of some secret arms deal that was going on with Turkey that they needed to cover up. And oh, by the way, there was somebody on the phone who told the people to stand down, or they could have been rescued. Oh, we got the evidence. We're going to bring them in front of us, and we're going to sit them down, and we're going to question them, and we're going to get to the bottom of this for the American people. We got the evidence. Wait till you see it. It's a bombshell. The Biden crime family. We got the evidence. They took millions. Joe sold influence. We got the evidence. Just wait until we drop this evidence. Fauci, gain of function research. We got the evidence. Fauci started COVID so we can make millions off a vaccine. We got the evidence. Just wait. Just wait until we give you this bombshell evidence. They're doing it right now. Right now. Even as people are complaining about being denied evidence of a conspiracy, they're working on another conspiracy right now that the same people aren't complaining about. Joe Biden using an auto pen for pardons because he supposedly was out of it mentally. Joe Biden's family, whether it's his wife Jill, his son Hunter, whoever, were actually running the government because Joe Biden was out of it mentally. They're having congressional hearings over it. They're calling in former Biden officials, former Biden staffers, Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary. They want to talk to Hunter. I heard a Republican politician say the other day, we even got to pull Joe in because we got to get to the bottom of this. Wait till we show you the evidence. Joe Biden was out of it mentally, and his family was running the country, not him. I mean, I said in the comment, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me for 10 years straight, shame on me. Shame on me if I keep falling for this. The Hunter Biden laptop. Oops. Oopsie doopsie. Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. You only need one. You only need one to work. And it turns out the Hunter Biden laptop was not Russian disinformation. It was not a conspiracy theory. So for anyone who's ever, say, gone fishing, or anyone who's ever played golf, if you hit that ball perfectly one time, you keep on playing. You can shank it off into the woods 50 times in a row, and you're ready to give up. And then you get a hold of that thing and it's a perfect swing and the ball goes dead straight right where you wanted it to go. It's a feeling like, oh, man. And you keep on going. You go fishing, you don't catch anything, you don't catch anything, you don't catch anything. And then you land the biggest fish you've ever landed in your life. It gets you back out there on the water for another time. That's kind of what it's like, I think, personally, with what we're going through now with our media. It just has to work one time. You can throw as much crap up against the wall as you want, whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right. Because make no mistake, one might be worse than the other, but as I've said many times in the past, just because the other side is worse does not make you better. It doesn't make you better. So we can just keep on dealing with this media that just throws crap up against the wall, just speculates about things, just focuses on one thing. I mean, as I say, this whole Epstein scandal, it's like we've forgotten about the Me Too movement. We've forgotten about the Me Too movement. Remember the Me Too movement? You had celebrities and powerful people all over the country shaking in their boots. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is my name going to be put out there next? Is someone going to come forward and give my name next as someone who has behaved inappropriately in the past? Oh, you had people, I should say men, all over the country shaking in their boots. So I imagine it's kind of the same thing that we seem to go through every time with this P Poopy, his trial. You know, They find him guilty of some of the charges. But once again, here's a guy who was living basically a double life for years, that everyone knew about. A lot of people knew about. How could they not? How could they not? I mean, he was basically hiring prostitutes, male prostitutes, and they never talked. He was staying in hotels. People had to walk into those hotel rooms after he got done with one of his freak-offs and said, what the heck went on in here? And nobody talked. There was video of him beating his girlfriend, and nobody talked. Nobody talked. So it's like we forget about these things. This stuff goes on all the time. All the time. And everybody knows about it. But rich and powerful men, for the most part, they get away with it. And they get away with it for the same reason that whoever, quote unquote, would be on the list, would be a client, would be someone who engaged in some of the disgusting behavior with Jeffrey Epstein, is getting away with it. They're getting away with it. We're not hearing. We're not finding out. Why? Because we're so focused on where is the gain for my party. Where's the gain from? The Republicans, they want the gain because they want the names put out there. They think they're going to be Democratic names. The Democrats, they want the gain because they love seeing the rift between MAGA and Donald Trump. That's their gain. That's all they're going to talk about. That's all they're going to talk about. They're not going to talk about, as I said, what media has turned into, what people are listening to, what people are being fed day after day after day. They're not going to talk about that. I don't know why. To me, that's the story. Because you even look at P. Poopy and his trial, they didn't put names out there. They didn't even speculate. They talked about, this one, a celebrity, celebrity number one. They gave him code names, but they didn't put names out there of people who may have been involved in what Piss Puddle was doing, or people who may have known what he was doing and kept their mouths shut about it. Other powerful people in the record industry, they didn't speculate and put a list of names out. Here's the people who were associated with Poop Puddle. They didn't do that. Why? Like I said, you get sued. So to me, the story is not the list of names we don't have, the list of names we can't get because you'd get sued if you just started putting people's names out there. The story to me, once again, is how can we allow this to keep happening? How can we allow this to keep happening? How can we walk around all giddy because we think all of a sudden Donald Trump's empire of loyal MAGA followers is coming to an end? It's all come crashing down. It's all coming crashing down because of this. The man sells a cologne. I think it's named Indictment. It smells like bankruptcy. And he got elected as president doing that. And you think this is going to take him down? You think this is going to take his presidency down? There are people wondering why this. Why is this the thing that's got his people so upset? Why not January 6th? Why not the 34 felony convictions? Why not the allegations of sexual assault? Why not all that other stuff? Why not all the crazy stuff, the scandals that Donald Trump has gone through over these years? Why is this the thing that's upset people so much? Because this was for them. All that other stuff, that was for you. That was for anti-MAGA people. That was a way to take Donald Trump down. January 6th, the trials that they consider witch hunts, the sexual assault allegations that they consider not to be true. All that, anything else you could think of, that was different. That was for you, Democrats. That was for you. Jeffrey Epstein, this is for them. This is them. This is their turn to get the scalp, to put people on blast, to shine the light on the deep state pedophile elites in the Democratic Party. And they've been denied that. They've been denied that by people who told them, who promised them, elect us and we're going to give it to you. We're going to give you the scalps that you want. So it's completely different. That's why. That's why they're so upset. I'm going to wrap this up, once again, trying to keep it short, by just suggesting that you Google Alexander Acosta, former prosecutor in Florida. He was the one who gave Epstein the sweetheart non-prosecution deal in Florida back in 2008. He was later named Donald Trump's Secretary of Labor in 2017. Not saying there's any connection whatsoever to that, just saying Alexander Acosta, look him up, he had to resign when the big scandal broke over Epstein in 2019. My point there, Acosta basically let Epstein off the hook in 2008, claiming that he did that, gave him a non-prosecution deal because he thought it was rolling the dice to go to court to get a longer sentence, so they just gave him a 13-month in jail sentence. Again, based on what the alleged crimes were, it was a sweetheart deal. He said he did that because he wanted the world to know that Epstein was an abuser. Well, didn't do much because that was 2008. It took until 2019 before Epstein was finally charged once again, which we all know where that led. So I am going to finish up for you. I want to read this entire press release. From you, or for you, from the Department of Justice from June 28th, 2022. I hate reading on a podcast, but I want to read it. I'm going to read it fast. All right. Damian Williams, the United States. This is, by the way, titled Ghislaine. Is that how you say her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, announced that Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced today in Manhattan Federal Court by United States Circuit Judge 240 months in prison for her role in a scheme to sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls with Jeffrey Epstein over the course of a decade. Maxwell was previously found guilty on December 29, 2021, following a one-month jury trial of conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal sex acts, conspiracy to transport minors to participate in illegal sex acts, transporting a minor to participate in illegal sex acts, sex trafficking conspiracy, and sex trafficking of a minor. You know what? I ain't going to read this whole article. I must be out my mind. It's kind of long. But the point I'm trying to make, or I was going to try and make by reading the whole thing, and you can Google it yourself and read the whole thing if you want. Once again, the title, Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine, sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse minors. It is a press release from the Department of Justice. The point throughout the whole article, they don't mention any other networking of any other individuals. Let me just read. According to the allegations in the indictment, court documents and evidence presented at trial, from at least 1994 up to and including in or about 2004, Maxwell assisted, facilitated, and participated in Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of minor girls by, among other things, helping Epstein to recruit, groom, and ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein to be under the age of 18. The victims were as young as 14 years old when they were groomed and abused by Maxwell and Epstein. That's the theme throughout. Maxwell and Epstein. Maxwell and Epstein. Maxwell and Epstein. Maxwell enticed and groomed minor girls to be abused in multiple ways. For example, Maxwell attempted to befriend certain victims by asking them about their lives, their schools, their families, and taking them to the movies or on shopping trips. Maxwell also acclimated victims to Epstein's conduct simply by being present for the victim interactions with Epstein, which put victims at ease, providing the assurance and comfort of an adult woman who seemingly approved of Epstein's behavior. Additionally, Epstein offered to help some victims by paying for travel and/or educational opportunities, and Maxwell encouraged certain victims to accept Epstein's assistance. As a result, victims were made to feel indebted and believed that Maxwell and Epstein were trying to help them. Maxwell also normalized and facilitated sexual abuse for a victim by discussing sexual topics, undressing in front of the victim, being present when the victim was undressed, and encouraged the victim to massage Epstein. So it goes on. It goes on, and it gets pretty graphic. It gets pretty graphic in the description of what was done to these young girls. And the Department of Justice, they thanked the young girls that came and testified in Maxwell's trial and put the evidence and the information out there. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is we did have a trial. We did have an investigation. And the press release from the Department of Justice after Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced was all about Maxwell and Epstein. If there's more to be found, we should be looking for it. Somebody should be looking for it. We should spend a whole lot more time demanding that. Where is the investigation taking continued testimony or statements from the victims, taking continued evidence from Maxwell, who's sitting in prison right now, who I would imagine she probably offered up as much information as she could to try and get a reduced sentence. She probably tried to make a deal. I would imagine the FBI, maybe they were willing to cut a deal, maybe they weren't, but I got to imagine she tried to get herself less of a sentence by offering up any names that she had to offer up. I would imagine the girls who testified, who wanted to see her go to jail and pay for what was done. I would imagine they had to have been asked, is there anybody else you can tell us about that were involved in this? And so once again, I don't want any of us to fall prey to this throw it all at the wall and see what sticks conspiracy by always continuing to accept the media saying the list, the Jeffrey Epstein list, the Jeffrey Epstein files, the Jeffrey Epstein client list. In other words, I guess what I'm saying is let's not sit and laugh at MAGA for falling prey to a conspiracy theory for years and then fall prey to the exact same conspiracy theory and sit and say, yeah, where's the list? Trump, why are you covering it up? Because your name is on the list. Trump, aren't we falling prey to the exact same conspiracy theory if we do that? I'm saying, assuming it's a conspiracy theory, assuming there is no list. And as I said, I'm just basing that on the fact that we had the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. We had the testimony from a lot of the victims. We had an opportunity to question Maxwell. And if there were other names, if there was a list to be provided and has been provided, then yes, we should say it. If it hasn't been provided, then we should know that. But we shouldn't fall prey to the exact same conspiracy theory that we're laughing and pointing fingers at other people for falling prey to. None of us should fall prey to it to the point to where we ignore that there may be monsters. Well, not maybe, there are. There are monsters out there that are getting away with the same thing and perhaps worse than what Jeffrey Epstein got away with. That's what we should be focusing on. That's what we should be demanding. That's what we should not be ignoring. And it shouldn't matter to us where that evidence leads us, whether it leads us to Donald Trump or whether it leads you to somebody that you love and admire. If they're committing the type of horrible crimes that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell committed, then we shouldn't care who the information comes from and where it points us to, as long as it gets us to the truth and it ends that type of behavior. Because as I've said many times before, I'm sick and tired of constantly hearing these stories about the women's U.S. gymnastics team, this pea puddle guy, Bill Cosby, who's the guy, the Hollywood guy, Harvey Weinstein. All these stories all had the same thing in common. It went on for years. Decades in some cases. And plenty of people knew about it and did nothing. That shouldn't be the case here. That's it. I'm going to end it there. I could have kept it even shorter than that. I should have kept it even shorter than that. I apologize. Please tune in. I'm just ending it. No music, no nothing. Please tune in again. I got some good stuff. I got some good stuff to get to you, for you, some good shows, some good information. I just need the time to sit down and work on it. I had a great trip. Just got back. It was a wonderful time. I want to thank people for rolling out the red carpet for me on their island. They asked me, how are you liking the island? And I gave them the suggestions. I'll tell you what I told them. I said, wider streets. You need to make these streets a little wider. There were times we were driving on these streets on this island. We were driving along the coast, and we only had 2 wheels on the road. It was like we were getting ready to fall into the ocean. But other than that, it was fantastic. And I thank the people out there, if they're listening, who, as I said, rolled out the red carpet, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. But I'm back now, back to work, and hopefully I'll have another episode for you soon. Please subscribe. Please share. Please rate the Comparison Guy Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to comment.